Here we go then, the news is out. Welcome to TalkingPoints TV. Michael Carrick is back as manager of Manchester United. The 5-time Premier League winner, Champions League winner, metronomic, phenomenal central midfield distributor has returned to the club where he made his name. Obviously, it was at West Ham and Spurs, but we know to write all that kind of stuff. It's the club where he made his name. That's why we know who Michael Carrick is. That's why we care. He returns for the second time as interim manager following a 3-match spell in which he won 2 and drew 1 after the end of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's tenure. Obviously, Carrick was part of that coaching staff, and now he's back for the rest of the season. Is there a possibility that Michael Carrick stays beyond the rest of the season? Not entirely sure, but when I ask that question, though, let us know below. Let's start with looking at talking points. What does Michael Carrick need to do to keep the job and to improve Manchester United immediately? Because if we look at what happened with Darren Fletcher, people were thinking Amrim's out, this rigid structure that's been suffocating the players is suddenly gone. All things point to success, goals, freedom. Didn't really see that, did we? Darren Fletcher struggled, to be honest, as much as Ruben Amrim had to get the best out of these players. He described them as fragile, and this is a situation that Michael Carrick is going into. It might be that the number one thing he needs to do is improve confidence and just make them believe in themselves. That's sort of what Ole did, didn't he, when he came in after Jose Mourinho, is he just created this huge lift through confidence. And it might be that's exactly what the players need. That might come from structural changes, from tactical changes, or it might just come from the training sessions, from talking to each other, and just from instilling belief through personality. Right, I'm having a look on talking points. Let's see what you're saying. These are the things that Michael Carrick needs to do first. First priority, so Dale says, settling on a team for the rest of the season. Hard to do something in the first few months because Ruben Amorim was unable to do it in 14. I wish him the best. United fans, get behind every manager. It's a really interesting point that Dale raises, just immediately saying that the challenge is settling the team. We're all excited. You immediately get hope when something like this happens. You go, belief, yes, the last few months haven't been the most fun. Now it's going to be great because Michael Carrick knows what it means to be at Manchester United. He knows what the challenge is. He knows how to meet it. He knows how to succeed at meeting that challenge. But that doesn't mean that he's going to find this really easy. It doesn't mean it's going to be straightforward. And actually, just finding a settled team would be something. We haven't seen a lot of that. Stephen J. Holmes says he needs to get the players to have positional awareness, not go wandering. Centre-backs shouldn't cross the halfway line except for corners. 4-4-2 with discipline. Just wants a classic formation. Nothing silly, nothing overly complicated. What do you want with that? I think we don't see a lot of 4-4-2s. It'd be more interesting. I mean, realistically, 4-4-2 sort of gets called a 4-2-3-1, something like that now. Thoughts on that? Let me know. 4-2-3-1, yeah, that sounds about right. And John, get United players to play the kind of attacking football they used to play when we were at our best, and he was a part of it. It's been missing for so long now. He should know, as he had many years at Old Trafford, looking forward to major improvements and proper football. This is the situation we now find ourselves in. The believers and the pragmatists. We've had this situation roll over many times. I remember when David Moyes when he was removed from his job at Manchester United and feeling this sense of relief, like, yes, we're back. It's all going to be brilliant now. We had Sir Alex, David Moyes came in, didn't quite work, but now it's going to be fantastic. And obviously it wasn't fantastic. And then we've sort of had this ebb and flow, these ups and downs as managers have changed. Michael Carrick has a short amount of time to improve things, but if he can improve things massively, what does that mean for the future? It's going to be difficult to get rid of him, much like it was difficult with Ole. Ole came in on an interim basis, did really well. However, I will say that CJ811695, which is a catchy name, says, a very good one. Michael Carrick will not disappoint. And then by June, get Jose. Please, man. First person I've seen referencing Jose, but that's fine. Right, how many games will Michael Carrick win? That is the next point. How many games does he need to win? How many points do we need to finish the season with? We know this is going to be a season where we're going to have a lot to play for. It's Champions League or bust, isn't it now? Especially after we went out to Brighton. It's going to be a short season, so Michael Carrick can focus. So Adnan says he's been thrown right into the deep end, hopefully 8 at a minimum, which means that feels not unrealistic. Dan Coombs has come in with an excellent one. So he says we're on 32 points right now. We need 10 to 12 wins plus an accumulation of draws. It's going to be tough. Last season, 4th had 69 points. 5th and 6th both split on 66 points. Whether he gets it, don't know. I don't expect too much from the opening 2 matches, which means little room for error after. I think it's a really astute summary of the situation, and it's good to have considered what happened last season. What are the benchmarks? What do we actually need to achieve? And he's right. It's going to be difficult. It'll be amazing if we can get something out of City and Arsenal, and it will give us that lift. But if things go wrong there, it feels like then we don't get that immediate uplift from Michael Carrick, and then it's just going to become harder. And then people will immediately start. You'll feel it. You'll feel that atmosphere, and you'll feel people's sort of. I don't want to say people are negative, but some people are negative, and they'll start thinking, well, this hasn't worked. Why have they bothered? And it'll be a slog. However, GLS for Man U has a totally different mindset to Dan. We must think big. Win all home matches. Win all away matches against the bottom feeders. Draw all games against the top dogs. That should be out 70 plus points. Enough for the Champions League. It is. That would definitely get us, I think, in the Champions League. But it is quite an ask, isn't it? That's not small. Just win every home game. Win every away game against the bottom side. Draw all the games against the top sides. We're a team that's struggled for form enormously. I mean, we'd love to win all the home games and all the away games. That would just win a load of games. Just have one of those bounces where we just win, win, win. That guy could finally get a haircut. We'd all be happy. But Darren Fletcher described this group of players as fragile. So I think it's unlikely that we're going to see that kind of form as much as we all want it. But that's part of the fun, is we're all sort of having this back and forth of what's realistic? What can we actually hope for? Because also, I mean, it's a great idea, but we can't just assume we're not going to win all of our home matches and all the games against the smaller sides. We just won't. I want us to, but it's not realistic, I think, of where the squad is, where the team is. But if it can happen, amazing. Let's talk about, while we're talking about wins and losses, winners and losers. So, Kobbie Mainoo or Mateus Cunha, says Dale O'Donnell. And that seems like the obvious one, doesn't it, Kobbie Mainoo? If you think about the kind of player he is, his positional awareness, I mean, specifically where he plays, and then think about Michael Carrick. If Kobbie Mainoo is not a Michael Carrick player, then I'm not sure we're going to work out who is in the months that he's here. But you'd imagine this is a huge win for Kobbie. There was obviously talk about possible loans and transfer requests, etc., because obviously he was barely playing. However, you'd hope that he's feeling confident this will all change and he can come straight back into the team and show us what a phenomenal football player he is. Because we all know he is, because we've seen it. Even if we've not seen a lot of it in the last 14 months, prior to that, we saw it constantly. Stephen, again, says, Carrick did his job perfectly as a player. Bad players get found out. Kobbie will be back. But Yoro needs to be re-educated, Heaven in the team as first-choice centre-back until De Ligt is back, then create the perfect back two with both of them. It's an interesting idea. Is that the perfect back two? Yoro and De Ligt. So an amazing stat about De Ligt the other day, where during his professional football career, he's never finished a season and started the next one with the same manager, which seems implausible. But that is the situation he's in. Something else that I know that's sort of got fans talking, and that'll be interesting when it comes to what happens with those first two results, is because people have such a deep love of Ollie as a person, and because undoubtedly the football that he gave us in the years since Sir Alex has retired was the most exciting. We might not have won anything, whereas with Jose prior to him we did win, and with Erik ten Hag afterwards we did win trophies. With Ollie it was the most fun. Ollie ball was great. We just didn't get anything from it. But also as a person, people love Ollie. And I think Michael Carrick as a personality is maybe more reserved. So people maybe know him less or feel they know him less. And if things don't go well, inevitably people will go, well, when Ollie came in last time, it got us loads of points. And that could be a potential stick that is used. But hopefully that won't happen. And people, people will be sad that Ollie's not come back in, but it shouldn't in any way, shape or mind detract you from Michael Carrick come back in. I was looking at some of his work with Middlesbrough and some quotes, and I mean, one is that he hates the expression philosophy, which I love. He's just a football man. He's not trying to make this any grander or any bigger and put bells on it. He doesn't need to. He just wants to watch a game of football, see what he likes, get players out there to do the right thing. He was talking about using attacking passes to disrupt teams that like to play really constrained approaches and constrained styles and really rigid formations. He's not too stressed about that. He's got an idea about how he wants the game to play. And he said, the teams that are successful, the teams that win, will change their ideas and adapt to make sure they still win. They're not going to go down, they're not going to lose to say, well, we lost our way. Where's the fun in that? The teams that win trophies don't do that. They change and they win. And Michael Carrick is going to do that. He's going to adapt. So the big question is, does this man who won so much at Manchester United have the opportunity to stay now? Because if Michael Carrick is successful, if he races us into the Champions League, if he does, like maybe I was wrong, if he does, like I think it was Anjon suggested, win the home games, win the away games against the bottom sides, draw against the top sides, it's impossible not to give Michael Carrick the job. Do you want to see Michael Carrick get the job? Because obviously this is going to be a really interesting summer with managers. We know people like Glasner, for example, his contract's coming to an end. There's the World Cup. So Thomas Tuchel, we know Ineos were interested before, could come back in. Carlo Ancelotti would be a romantic choice, wouldn't he? That would be quite fun. So people will be about possibly. What do you want to happen? Get it in talking points. I'll be reading them out as we go. But don't be scared. Be bold. Give us your strongest opinions. We want to hear them.